Hi, if you like this content, please hit the like button and subscribe. Brian Richino here. Today I wanted to talk about the importance of sacrifice. Um, Not just the sacrifice in this like I'm not talking about the sacrifice. Of course, like anything need a trade off, right? Like whatever you do. Okay, I mean I mean whatever you're gonna get, you have to pay. That's a trade off, right? But then that sacrifice is important. I mean, everything is kind of like a sacrifice. But then whenever we do something like a big thing, or somewhere we want to really go, we have to really think of forego something that a non-priority in a sense to do the priority. The most important thing, the sacrifice you're going to make is going to be your time. Whatever you need to do, or whatever you had to do, or you wanted to do, you spend that time. Otherwise, you can spend something else, right? But then there is a nuance that critical, which is like whatever when you're sacrificing something, right? Let's say you're going for your like priority, like let's say you want to be a musician, or you want to be a scientist or writer or something like that. Make sure that because you're already sacrificing your time, right? I mean, you can do other stuff like more fun things or whatever, right? But that's not really for you. You determine that that's not as easy as not easy. That not as important as what you need to do for your long-term goal. Then, since you're already sacrificing your time, you need to really make sure that whatever you're doing right now is, in a sense, rational and then well thought out. And for me, that was a real problem. I thought that the success really, when I was younger, like I thought the success just came from just sacrifice something, right? So in a sense, just spend time, and then I sacrifice, so somebody have to give it to you, the result. The life just doesn't go that way. Even if you sacrifice, let's say 10 years, 20 years, right? If you're doing the wrong thing or wrong way to do it, you're not going to get that result, or in any of the good results. Yeah. So for me, it's like I really notice about that is like I try to. I want it to be like really like smart, or like getting some good college or whatever, and I spent a lot of time just sit there doing stuff, to get good grades. But I really didn't think through how to achieve that goal. So what's gonna happen? What happened in my case is like I cut corners a lot. Like I try to just memorize instead of really think through, because thinking is pretty like tiresome, and it takes longer. It seems takes longer, right? Because if you just try to memorize the answer, you just kind of repeat over and over again, and then you just can reproduce. But if you really think about, oh yeah, I understand it, and things of the nature, and then you practice over and over again, it seems taking a lot of time, right? So I didn't do it. unfortunately, that well. And also like the strategy wise, right? Like I wasn't really think through. So whatever like sounds great, like oh somebody's taking this type of course, I just took it. And some uh, some ads was like showing like oh if you go to this school or take these classes, like look at it, there are a bunch of people getting to a great university. I mean, there are just a lot of similar this type of ads are there, not just the school, but anyways, I got caught up in that type of things. And since I was so the course of the things that I sacrificed for, right? Like those type of strategy or methodology that after years and years, just time passes. It was in a sense waste of time. So just because you're sacrificed, so what I noticed about this is like when I was a graduate from UCLA, I had I got the physics degree, right, like bachelor in science, and I actually I did like what top 10%. So it was really good, but I kind of knew that I was phony. That's what I felt because I was just like a copy monkey, right? It's just I could memorize like all this like the quantum mechanics like formulas or Schrödinger's equations or that type of things. But I didn't quite understand, and I cannot do anything with this knowledge because the knowledge is like just a picture on the wall. It's not really like I can really use it because I didn't. It wasn't really incorporated into application or anything. So I noticed that okay, I did all, but I did my best doing the way I did, and then went as far as I went, right? Got the degrees and all that. So, but then when I look back, all the sacrifice I did, like spending time, studying stuff, what did I get? Pretty much not much, nothing. So that was really the moment that I knew that then uh, whether I should keep going the way I do, and actually I probably could, you know, no, it's actually very likely because the system is set up in such a way that if you are getting the good grade on some kind of test, you can go quite far. But then I didn't want to live this type of like a phony life in a sense. So I just start relearning whatever I had to learn. Like I actually started learning what multiplication table means really. It's insane. That's how much I didn't quite understand what it means. Yeah, I was just like learning those kind of table with like songs and things of the nature, and just kind of be able to produce. I kind of knew vaguely, but I didn't quite understand what that really means. But when I overcame that, like it took me like probably another 10 years. I mean, seriously. In a gradual sense, it's not just that. That's all I did, right? I did private tutoring things. That really helped me actually going over all this like previous material and the understanding from the basis. But then once I realized if you made a right type of sacrifice, right way to do things, right? So I started doing the right way of studying and whatever. Then you built up the solid base, and then you can actually put so much on top of it. And when I didn't understand, like back in the day, like when I graduated from UCLA, I didn't understand, let's say, quantum mechanics, or let's like a high particle physics, or uh, GR, general theory of relativity, things of nature. You can start really get it, and then not just that, right? You can understand the programming language, and like a lot of different, like opening up whole types of avenue or engineering or whatever. So yeah, sacrifice is necessary, right? Without the sacrifice, you're not gonna get it. Your life is like, oh, I do this, I do this. Everything was just mediocre. Basically, you're not doing anything. But when you try to do one thing at a time, like really good sacrifice in a sense, like focus, right? If you focus this, you do it all the way in. Like you're gonna be the master, right? Like from the basics to all the way. You know more than everybody, and that you try to reason more than anybody about that topic, and then connect with other type of your interests, because a lot of things are connected. Um, so right, and then some people might, more basic sense that somebody like, oh, I don't want to sacrifice whatever, right? Like, yeah, I just want to do the minimum sacrifice. That's understandable. You don't want to be like just do like one thing and then life is nothing else, right? You gotta have some balance. But then here we really have to think about life as in an abundance. Means it's like everything what we want is pretty much already here. We just have to gather it. All this imagination or like resources, everything, it's for you to take. Okay, and the universe is so vast that every single one of us on Earth, if we try our best, we can get. I mean, technically, I mean, realistically, it's not possible. There's a lot of problems, but if you are enlightened, if you're going for the right direction, and if you work hard at it, by struggle you can get all these. So like it's not like life is like, okay, if you do this, I cannot do this. Let's say, oh, if I have a family, I cannot do this work. Of course, like if you have a family before you establish a little bit, your time commitment, your resource commitment is going to be more. That's just the mathematics, or it's a physics, right? Because you got to spend more time on the family. But then at the same time, that's not necessarily actually correct at all times, because even if you're focusing on this, it's not like you're gonna do this for like you can focus on like 10 hours, 12 hours, the same thing, because you're gonna eventually your brain just doesn't work that well, and then you become inefficient. So it might be better actually you have a family, and then you can just kind of relax a little bit, and then your husband or wife or can actually help you out, and then that actually makes your performance much better, right? It's not just that, oh, I'm gonna wait 10 years not to have family. That doesn't actually really make sense. It actually comes from a mindset of scarcity. Means it's like, oh, if I do this, I can't have this, so I gotta pick. No, think of it as always, I could do both. And of course, you don't have to do both at the same time. But then once some things keep going, right? Then try this one too. And then if you could juggle these two, get one more. And then that's is important. Like eventually you know how to work with other people. And then that's how the communities or um, the most effective persons operate, is to work with other people, kind of delegate, right? Trust people to do certain things. So yeah, make sure that you create this kind of vision that you don't have to take on everything by yourself. You don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to take whole world into your own hands. That's why other people are there. We share things. So yeah, just don't use the sacrifice as an excuse to make your life fuller. Okay. Yeah, I made a mistake that I was pretty scared that okay, if I don't do this, I cannot have this, right? So I just did this, but then that actually makes my vision really narrow. So I couldn't take up a lot of other opportunities, or I couldn't see the opportunities. So it's actually works in really negative way if you think that if you interpret the sacrifice in a wrong way. And another sacrifice, like you might be confused about, is like sacrificing your value or principles. This is just like the one that I told you. This is going to be a mistake. And why this is going to be a mistake is value or principle will actually save your time, whatever you do. It makes your decision easier, relationship easier, and a lot of things easier. So if you have to do something, right? Like let's say, oh, I have to sacrifice for, like let's say compromise your value or whatever. And then you might think, oh, because I'm sacrificing it, so I'm gonna get more reward. But that's not true. You generally, in the long term, you're gonna actually lose a lot more. Um, yeah, extreme probably cases like more like people uh, going for the criminal activities, easy money, but then there's a severe consequences. And in a small sense, the more you compromise your value, let's say you lie or cheat or whatever, right? In a small sense, not you not just you weaken yourself or lose your integrity, you lose your reputation, which is the most valuable commodity you can have when you interact with others. So because like if you have a great reputation of your merit and then your integrity, then everybody wants to work with you, right? And they trust your product or trust your service. So yeah, sacrifice what needs to be sacrificed, but then just the overall, just oh, I sacrifice it, that doesn't make your life better. Also, don't sacrifice your true self. It is like I was actually trying to when I look back, I was trying to fit into society or whatever. Like some society said this is cool, or like this is supposed to walk in this path, and then that's respectable, and so forth. But then if you sacrifice yourself, it's almost like you're the one of those saying like square peg in a round hole, right? You're gonna destroy yourself. You're the that says square. You gotta cut this your part of you instead of expand, and then make it into a very cool, unique being, right? You just have to be fit into that little hole. So you never sacrifice your true voice, who you are. Of course, you have to polish it, improve it, and so on, right? But then you know when you are something like your talent is X and Y, but then there's just something with maybe somebody's dangling like some kind of prestige or power or money or whatever, and then become like B and C, right? Whatever, not you, but then you got to just pretend to be that way, or you try to be that way and good at it. That will kill your essence. It's really a bad strategy, because since you are not really fit into that direction, right? Your talent or your temperament was not really there for to excel. You're gonna have so much competition, and if somebody is like just naturally fit, and then you'll never be able to make any better quality of goods or service or accomplishment, and then you're gonna just keep frustrating yourself. So don't sacrifice this your true self. Be true to yourself. So when you sacrifice is really crucial in our life. It's a trade-off, but some of the things you just never sacrifice. Rather, you're gonna strengthen, like a value principle, yourself, like a true self. And what you sacrifice is, when you sacrifice something, make sure that where you're going is well thought out. Make sure that you experiment, research, and then where you're going is aligned to the reality. Any of the things are, if you're lazy, okay, or like if you want to try to cut corner, you are wasting the sacrifice that you're making, and that's a shame. And yeah, just think of it this way, and I would say happy sacrificing, because if you do the right way to sacrifice and the right things to sacrifice, then sky is the limit. Hi, thank you for watching. Please write down your idea in the comment section below to help each other. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe and hit bell button to be notified a new video. See you next time.